Hey, welcome back to Stimmy Films. Breaking news about BTB Savage, man. They looking for the two guys that they seen skirting off, and this whole thing happened in the whip at the drive-by, man. What they're reporting is that basically the sources are saying that BTB Savage got ran up on. He must have shortly returned from like a trip to the store or somewhere like that, and he was noticed, he was seen. He did say that he was going to be staying in Houston and was not moving out after recently getting into an altercation in which he went on Vlad TV to explain a situation about the last case that he caught when people ran up in his place, I guess for some type of to rob him or something like that. And then it went bad and it ended up him and his girl having to like scramble and do what they had to do to make it out. And so basically he made fun of the dude and dissed the dude from that situation. And, you know, a lot of his homies and a lot of the partners that was riding with him and everything in Houston, they, weren't taking it too well. And eventually the karma caught back up to him within just hours of him making fun of and dissing and all that on Instagram. What y'all got to realize is that this dude was moving very sloppy. He wasn't willing to cover his tracks. He thought he was untouchable, and it was just a bad situation where BTB Savage put himself in this position. He put himself in the mix of this because of the fact that he went out there and did what he was doing on a daily basis. The type of hustle he had is a TJX6 type of hustle. And so when he finessed dudes the first time, they talking about, alleged whatever, some dude, Omar, right? And so they're saying that with Omar and him, it was something where he actually robbed him first or something. And then that's what turned out into the beef just going further and further. One thing you got to know is that anytime somebody does something, they do something back, it's always just going to keep continuing because everybody wants to have the last word and the last laugh, and they want to have the last response. And that's what's making it to where it kept continuing to what happened to BTB Savage. And then also, so now the whole city of Houston got to deal with this because this whole thing is like national due to the fact that the dude went on Vlad to explain an entire story that of the situation where he wasn't even supposed to talk about it because he already had beat that case. So why linger on it and keep bringing it up and trying to diss the people from it? And he actually like sent a message to them to let them know. He was telling them that they're not going to find him and that, even though he's still living in Houston, that they're not going to be able to do anything to him. And even if they did see him, that they're too soft or whatever, or that, he's going to make sure that nothing happens. And so, be careful what you wish for because that's what happened to BTB Savage. He spoke on it when he didn't need to. He just excessively stayed on to that whole situation and just kept it and held on to the beef like he wanted the smoke. He didn't want to move forward, even though he's the person that in the situation should have been the one to where he's lucky he got away with what they got away with. And then the fact that they didn't figure out what it was all related about anyways, that's something where he should have kept it quiet from the jump. He can't be speaking on all of that stuff, not only from that point of view, but the other point of view of how it's still people who actually are like mad that he even mentioned them by name in the statements. And he even told Vlad their names. Like now Vlad knows their names. And so that's nothing that nobody wants to have happen to them. And so what that does is basically it's going to make people want to go back and spin the block and retaliate or actually go out and seek for him because they might have all the time in the world, maybe that they don't do nothing. And so they do have every single day to actually devote to trying to find where dude is. And at the end of the day, BTB Savage seems like the type of person who's still going to pop out to the club and still go and be in the limelight and in the spotlight and be on the scene to everything, all the functions and the movements going on in Houston, to where somebody that knows the people that's looking for him is going to spot him and see him and they're going to drop a dime. One thing you got to know about when people drop a dime is that they're trying to get money out of it or they down bad or you know what I mean? Like this is somebody you can't trust, but that's why you can't trust nobody. And you got to be careful with when you're popping out and everybody's watching and he's the type of person that's trying to flex. His whole entire thing is that he flexes on everybody on every video, music video that he does. His whole thing is being a flexer. And so when he was being a flexer, that ended up coming back to bite him because of the fact that that caused them to gain attention to him when they seen him in the club flashing all 20s and all hundreds and everything like that, and then actually having a chain where it was multiple chains, but it's the chain with the big BTB chain and with his name on it and everything that you could see. And so as soon as they noticed that, they knew exactly who it was, and all they had to do was watch him. And when they seen him go into the parking lot, they saw exactly what kind of car he was in. And so not only that, but little do they know, they already knew people that actually lived in his whole entire neighborhood and everything, because it's not like that's off limits. It's that he was just caught lacking and everything. And so eventually, that once they got all that info and seen everything he was doing and what he was driving and where he was pulling up to, and like the little like patterns that he has of the times that he goes to the club all the time at 11 p.m. and instead he coming back at 3 a.m. and stuff. And so what that has to do with it is that that's when it happened at night. And so they caught him pulling back up one of the nights. And that's when they made their move, because this time they were all hoodied up, masked up, and everything ready to go. And so when they cut the lights and drove by and they seen him, they knew that was the same whip that they seen with the dude with the BTB chain going inside of it. So they knew for a fact and that it was a for sure sign that that was their guy that they were looking for. And so since they were looking for him for so long, and they finally found him and had an opportunity to do what they wanted to do, that's when they ended up flooring it, sliding, the windows rolled down, and it all happened tragically as the dude is right there. And so, you know, the neighbors, and it woke everybody up because it was loud. And so they tried to get away and everything. And that's why trying to find the people. They still looking for another couple more that might be involved. And so this whole thing is like rattled Houston, because you see that it's been a whole entire since the whole summer of things happening in Houston, and it's just turning into a thing where it's like people don't even want to go there, because it's like every now and then something is going down, something crazy is happening. And so the way people look at it, it's like they trying to back off of that. And BTB Savage, it's like that's just another person who was moving wrong, doing everything wrong. He was pursuing the danger, he was pursuing the smoke, and trying to instigate even more and more. He should have never really went on Vlad to speak on the situation, but it was because of him trying to get a lot of like momentum and people to be looking at him. He wanted the attention due to him being a rapper also. So since he's trying to also be a rapper, then he went and tried to go on Vlad to blow up and get and basically just clout chasing. And so the clout chasing got him into a real situation, into where he was trying to get publicity and everything for his whole rap career by going and speaking about the whole thing of him in the case. And it's like, why would you go and do that? That's basically just adding more fuel to the fire. Like, you know that the people is listening. And so the fact that he did that, he was trying to diss to get, to clout chase. And that's one thing you can't do. You can't be dissing people to clout chase. That's just where you're going to end up, where people show up and actually try to see what you were talking about and see if you were really about that life. And, it's just another one of those cases. And RIP to BTB Savage, condolences to the family and everything like that. But everybody got to understand, y'all people got to know that this is not the way to move around. Like, take that as an example. Learn a lesson from this, that you shouldn't be trying to diss people, flexing on Instagram in a way where you're like directing it to your ops, and while you're also simultaneously going on Vlad TV talking about a case and dissing the dude and all that. It's literally like 5 things that he did at the same time that was all wrong moves that you're not supposed to do. And he was not a low-key type of person at all, with the flashy personality and lifestyle and everything like that. And him still going out and partying and everything while there's people looking for him. And he's also inviting them to try him, basically. And he's wearing all of his jewelry and carries at least $20,000 cash on him everywhere he goes and flexes it. And so when there's people that's looking for him and they see that and they hungry and they ready to go and they see him going into the Cadillac, then there's no surprise that all that happened after the way he was moving and everything like that. man. So y'all got to realize that you got to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let me know what y'all think.